welcome back to the channel. I am yours truly, and today we're gonna get into Alabama's schedule for 2023. I'm sorry for long the long gap in between videos. I had some personal stuff come up in my life outside of YouTube. Other than that, I'm ready to get back into it. I plan on doing at least one video a day. I'm gonna try to do two. I can't promise two, but I'm gonna try to get back in these prediction videos. So, anyways, we're gonna quickly recap Alabama for 2022. Alabama went 11-2 with a win in the Sugar Bowl against Kansas State. They went 10-2 the regular season. Their losses came to Tennessee and LSU on the road by a combined score of 4 points. They lost to LSU in overtime last year in Death Valley, and then obviously they lost to Tennessee by 3 points on a game-winning field goal by Tennessee. So there's going to be a lot of turnover by Alabama this year. They got two new coordinators, both offense and defensive coordinators left. They got new jobs, and Bryce Young, along with a lot of the talent on defense, went to the draft. So, anyways, let's get into the numbers for Alabama in 2023 based off the Vegas sports books. As we take a look at the numbers set by the Vegas sports books for 2023, now this is kind of like the general feel how a certain team's going to feel. The betting public, how they feel. This is pretty much people put their money behind basically putting their money where their mouth is. Right now, the over/under win total is at 10.5. That means if you feel Alabama's going to go 11-1 or better, you bet the over. If you feel that Alabama's going to go 10-2 or worse, you bet the under. Pretty easy numbers there. Now, the national title odds for Alabama this year are at plus 600, which is second best in the country behind Georgia. Pretty much, if you put 100 down and Alabama wins the national title again, you'll win $600. Pretty easy. And then for them to win the SEC this year is at plus 300. They're second only behind to Georgia again. Pretty much, you put down 100 and Alabama wins the SEC, you win 300. Pretty easy numbers there. So, anyways, let's look at Alabama's schedule for 2023. As we take a look at Texas's schedule for 2023, one thing that jumps out to me is that Alabama has a lot, if not all, their toughest games at home this year. That's a big benefit for Alabama. As last year, a lot of their tougher games were on the road, and a lot of the easy games were at home. So that's a good benefit. And plus, their bye week lines up very nicely. It's right before the LSU game, so it's going to give them 2 weeks to prepare for LSU. Now, let's get into some winners and losers for Alabama. For the first game on their schedule, they have a home game against Middle Tennessee. And look, I know Middle Tennessee last year pulled off a big upset, if you want to look at that, and they went on the road and beat Miami in Miami. I just do not see Middle Tennessee beating Alabama. In fact, this is probably going to be like a 30 or 40 point beatdown by Alabama. So give Alabama the win over Middle Tennessee. Now the next game on their schedule is a home game with Texas. Last year this game was close all the way down to the end, and I think a lot of people would say had Quinn Ewers stayed healthy throughout the game, I think Texas would have won that game in Austin. Unfortunately, they dropped that game to Alabama late. I think this year Steve Sarkisian and the Texas Longhorns get revenge and beat Alabama and Brian Denny. So give Alabama their first loss this season at the hands of Texas. The next game on Alabama's schedule is a road trip to South Florida, not to face Miami, but to go and face USF on the road. Now, I know USF went and hired the Tennessee offensive coordinator from last year. I don't think that's going to be enough for USF to even be competitive in this game. This team last year was one of the worst teams in FBS play. Yeah, I think Alabama's going to win this probably about 40, 50 points, somewhere in that range. Then the next game after that is a home game with Ole Miss. Now, last year this game was a close game for Alabama. They came back from 13 down to beat Ole Miss, and Lane Kiffin and worked for Nick Saban for a little while. I think Lane Kiffin has peaked because I just need to see something out of Ole Miss defense. Now, they did get better last year than they were the year before, but they're still vulnerable at times. Yeah, I just need to see something out of that defense. I think Alabama's going to win this probably about 2 touchdowns against Ole Miss at home. Now, the next 2 games for Alabama are a tricky set of games, and they could lose one of these 2 if they're not careful. I'm not saying they will, but they could. Their first road trip is a road trip to Mississippi State. And look, what happened to Mike Leach was tragic, and it's unfortunate to see a coach pass away in the offseason, especially. So Mississippi State decided to promote within and promote their defensive coordinator to head coach, and the defensive coordinator has already done say they're not going to be running an air raid system. That air raid system was pretty much inside of Mike Leach's head, so it's not very easy to replicate, especially coming from a defensive minded head coach. So I think Mississippi State, however, is going to be the worst team in the SEC West this year. I'm willing to say they're going to be worse than Texas A&M and Arkansas. I just don't have a lot of confidence in Mississippi State this year. So give Alabama the win over Mississippi State. Now the next game for Alabama is a road trip to Texas A&M. Now last year Texas A&M, yeah, they were laughing stock at the SEC, but they almost pulled it out and beating Alabama in Alabama last year. Now, had Jimbo not been full on a potato on the fourth and goal, I think Texas A&M would have pulled out a win in Tuscaloosa. This year, this is going to be played in Kyle Field in College Station. I almost want to pull. It's 50-50 because this game has been close the past few years, actually. I almost want to pull the upset alert alarm, but I don't know. I think Alabama's going to pull out a close win in College Station by getting a win over Texas A&M. After the road trip to Texas A&M, they will have a home game with Arkansas. Now, Arkansas does have some good news in getting KJ Jefferson back at quarterback. The bad news is that they lost everybody else, either through the transfer portal or through all-season turnover within the coaching staff. And I just don't have a lot of confidence Arkansas is going to be great this year. They're not going to be god-awful, but they're not going to be great either. They're probably going to be like a 4 or 5 win team this year. I just do not have a lot of confidence in Arkansas. So give Alabama the win over Arkansas. Now the next game after that is a home game with Tennessee. Now last year this was one of the best games of the season. Back and forth they went, up and down the field. Nobody seemed like they could stop anything. And eventually Tennessee got the win in Neyland on a game-winning field goal. I think this year, although Tennessee's probably going to be a better team on paper than Alabama, playing in Alabama is tough. I just think Alabama's going to... I know Vegas is going to favor Alabama, but to me this feels like a Tennessee favored game. I would say Alabama wins this game in an upset over Tennessee and getting payback over Tennessee. Now the next game for Alabama is going to be their biggest game as far as SEC title hopes. This game is a home game with LSU. Now they get this game after a bye week, so Nick Saban's going to have 2 weeks to prepare for LSU. I think that might be just a benefit from the SEC saying thanks. I don't know what that is, but I think this is going to be a low scoring game. Like this might be a 21-17 type of game where it's just pound the ball, get points, and rely on the defense. I think both these defenses are going to be great, if not elite, this year. I I I think Alabama gets away with a lot of luck this year. I don't think they're going to get away with this one. I think Alabama's going to lose to LSU again this year at home. So give the Crimson Tide their second loss of the season. And then the next game after that is a road trip to Kentucky. Now, Kentucky is one of the most physical teams in the SEC. They like to run it down your throat and not even say uncle. That's Kentucky football. They play pound the rock, get points, and play defense. I know they had Will Levis last year, and he's off to the NFL, and they brought in Devin Leary from NC State, but I don't think that's going to be enough for Kentucky to beat Alabama. I think this is going to be a convincing, I guess you would call it convincing win. This would probably be like a 30-point win for Alabama. So, yeah, give Alabama the win over Kentucky. After the road trip to Kentucky, they will have a home game with Chattanooga. This will be a 40-50 point win. Nothing special about this game. And then the final game of the season for Alabama, they will have to go on the road to play Auburn and for the Iron Bowl, one of the biggest rivalries in the college football. This is going to be a great game, I think. I think Auburn's going to be much more improved this year than they were in the past couple of years under Brian Harsin. Now, do I think Auburn has a chance to win? Absolutely. They had a chance to win last year, but it was under Harsin. It was just a train wreck for Auburn. However, I do not think Auburn's going to be able to pull the upset off at home this year for them. So I think this will be a much closer game than most experts will predict. But I still think Alabama's going to win this by a touchdown, maybe 2 touchdowns over Auburn. And that wraps up the 2023 schedule prediction for Alabama. According to my prediction, they're going to go 10-2 with one SEC loss. What that means is that they're not out of the SEC hunt as far as the SEC West. Because if, let's just say LSU loses 2 games, then Alabama's going to win the SEC West. Because the Texas game does not count towards their SEC record. Not this year. Now, Texas will be in the SEC next year, and I think they will play Alabama and Austin. Don't quote me on that yet, because I'm just going off of memory, but that's that. The best case scenario for Alabama is go on 12-0 and make it the SEC title game. The worst case scenario is an 8-4 record, I think, or the floor. And with the 8-4 record, I would say not only the 2 teams I think you're going to lose to, but possibly losing to Texas A&M and to Auburn. And you could possibly swap out Auburn for Ole Miss. I'm just saying. Now, if you like the content, like and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow the channel. We can only grow the channel 1 subscriber at a time. Liking the content and all that boosts us into the algorithm, so it gets recommended to more people's feeds. To spread the message along, it would go a long way. I know time is valuable and precious to everybody, so I will say thank you all for taking the time, watching the content. It goes a long way, even for a channel this size. I know I'm a very small content creator, but I have dreams and aspirations just like the big guys. So, just like and subscribe. I'm trying new things out with the channel. I'm trying to see what does great. I see everybody loves the schedule predictions. So you might see me do a live stream tonight. You can come hang out with me and ask questions and all that. It'll go a long way for me, and you'll be able to see my ugly face for the first time. Or actually, you will get to see my ugly face if you've been a regular viewer of this channel. But anyways, until next time, thank you for watching.